So it's 6:34 on Monday, June 7th, and I'm calling the Ordinance Review meeting to order. The participants in this meeting are gathered remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic as a result of an executive order by Governor Baker on March 12th, 2020, allowing us to do so. Hold on. Hello, I'm on a Zoom. One second. Your dinner's on the table in there. There's just need to get ketchup. Okay. Oh boy. So Omar just sent us minutes. He probably didn't have a chance to look at them. But what about, did we ever approve your minutes yet, Sam? From last time? Did we already approve those?
I don't think so.
I can't keep track.
I don't think so.
Okay, let's just approve the if you had a chance to.
Yeah.
That was from, if you want to look at from, I just had them up and then I lost them. Minutes from March 15th.
We approve that.
Oh, we did already. Okay. Yep. And we could approve Omar's. Did you guys want to look through your emails real quick, or you could also wait?
I think I just sent it to you, Lindsay, and I asked if you can send it to everybody.
And I did.
Oh, okay. I mean, we can approve it next time.
Let's approve it next time. Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything that that we've learned or gathered from open questions from our other meetings anyone has? Nope. Okay. The fire chief was looking forward to coming tonight and talking to us about Chapter 12, but he's something, I can't remember, but something, he's got to do something tonight. But he and Dan Constantine have been going over them. Oops, Helen's coming in. Let's wait. Hi, Helen. So I was just saying that we just started getting started just now, that Chapter 12, it's very lengthy, and there's a lot in there that relates to the fire department, and we're going to attend tonight, but instead they're writing us an email that they hope to have us by the end of the week because they couldn't come tonight. So it's just us, and I invited everybody else that we talked about inviting, the Agricultural Commission, DPW, planner, but no one else made any comments on this section. So we can just take a stab at it ourselves. I'll share my screen. Okay. There should be like something like window-itis when you have like just too many windows open. I'm looking forward that we'll actually be able to meet in person. And for the organization of all this, I think it'll be fun to do it in person.
When is it gonna be? At the end of this month?
Yeah, next month, July. I think we can.
Yeah, after July 1st, we start going to 50 days.
Okay. I admittedly didn't look too deeply at this because I thought, people were coming that were really knowledgeable. This seems like so specific, all of this stuff, and technical about topics I don't have deep knowledge about. Did anyone else take a look and have thoughts on?
I would basically echo what you said. I mean, a lot of this I had looked over because the stormwater ordinance is being revised in ordinance right now to be in cooperation with MGL. And a lot of this is like, I'm pretty confident that there's nothing like, or I'm pretty confident that there's nothing like oppressive or discriminatory in like, you know, our setup of how like underground tank storage works. Whether it's the right way to do it, I feel like there's a lot of technical knowledge that I personally just don't possess. So I feel like to some extent I am at the mercy of the DPW and the fire department and the Board of Public Works and whatnot when it comes to these things. But like I did my best. There's a lot of technical language that I did my best to sort of skim it and basically understand what was going on. But nothing really jumped out at me.
Yeah. I guess, again, the language too, and like when I read through it, I was, you know, skimming through it as well. So I might have just not understood something right off the bat. But I guess just like with the removal of the storage tanks and stuff like that, and it being at the, I guess, owner's expense and everything. Like, so if you're a property owner and maybe find somehow a tank needs to be removed. I'm just wondering if there was some sort of financial aid in those sorts of things, if, you know, someone couldn't, because I think it's the owner of the property is responsible for that removal and clearing of the whole thing.
Do we
So
know how much it?
I have no idea. I imagine like
how much it costs.
When we say underground storage systems, I'm hearing like septic tanks. Is that what everyone else is taking away from that, or is there other things? Oil tanks.
I was thinking of oil tanks too. I know sometimes they used to be underground, and if they find that they're underground, they have to be removed.
They do have to be removed. Usually that would happen, often happens when you're transferring your real estate. So an underground tank might be discovered at that point, and then it is the property owner's responsibility to remove it. But at that point, they're about to, like, you know, make a sale and get money. I don't know if there's any kind of fun. It's kind of, I don't think there's any kind of funding that I am aware of that helps homeowners remove them.
You might be able to apply for like a community development block grant type thing. There's a lot for home improvement. A lot of that's there. I don't know about that sort of thing, but if it was, I mean, maybe that would work. I just don't know.
And then it kind of makes me think of like asbestos remediation, except for this could harm more people if there's like an oil spill underground versus asbestos in your house, right?
Right. With like lead paint remediation, there's like mass save. Is it mass save? Right? Is that?
Yeah.
People go through sometimes too, and sometimes that can cover a lot of the expenses for that if you qualify for whatever. But yeah, I was just wondering if there was something similar. I feel like I read something that could have been interpreted as such, but I don't have it right in front of me right now, so, except for what you have on the screen.
And usually the fire department keeps track of all those storage tanks and when they've been removed. Because often when you're, again, selling your property, if there was a history of it, you have to produce it, and like you can go to the records of the fire department. Right.
Okay.
The Chief Norris seemed to say that there was a lot that wasn't up, like you said, Tom, like a lot maybe not up to date, but I don't know if it's, you know, discriminatory.
And I would just have trouble even picking out what parts of this are outdated without some sort of expert.
Exactly. What are the future chapters that we're looking at here? Are they all can go to the top? So
the right to farm section is coming up pretty soon in 12.
Oh yeah.
Which is a little more accessible.
Well, we read that too, yeah, so hold on. Let's see, the farm, let's see, chapter. Oh yeah, the welcoming trust ordinance, and that's it. Oh, okay. All right. So let me look at right to farm.
I'm just gonna grab my hard copy of this.
Oops. Where'd it go? Right to farm, oops. Okay, let's look at the right to farm.
Lindsay, was the fire department, just for note taking, was the fire department intending to come to discuss the underground storage system specifically, or everything that was kind of water related?
Anything that related to them, and that wasn't specific. I just like, if you look at chapter 12 and, you know, see in terms of things that pertain to your department, because I sent the email to all the Department of Public Works and Agriculture and everyone all together. And Chief Norris was the one that responded.
And he was the one that was going to attend, and will probably attend to a later date, correct?
I don't know if he'll attend. He said he's putting together an email with Dan Constantine, who does the inspections in town. So I imagine it will be thorough, because Chief Norris seems to be thorough when it comes to reporting and data. So in our experience so far, there might even be a chart.
Thank you.
Even this, I mean, it's more accessible, but I still, this is the one that I was hoping the Agricultural Commission would weigh in on.
I mean, my understanding of these is basically that if you want any sort of local food production in a community, you kind of have to have something like this that basically just says that, because like agriculture is just, you know, it can be loud and smelly and whatever. And to just say like, hey, just so you know, in this, you know, like when people move in here, like you need to know, like, this is a community where we're gonna allow people to grow food. And that's just how things are.
And there's a conflict resolution kind of section. They're just 1267. I don't really see anything that's super controversial. Or...
Do we say anything specifically about chickens?
It's not in there that I could see. This was, it seems specifically like based on the definitions to be related to farming very specifically.
I think the chicken stuff is going to be in the zoning ordinances.
Yeah,
there is something about keeping chickens in the...
I mean, it does make reference to keeping and raising of poultry, etc., for food and other agricultural purposes, including bees and fur-bearing animals. But these don't. Right.
All right. This might be a short meeting.
But it does say, and that it mentions that just lightly, in that one bullet point under the definition of farm, as referring to something whose primary purpose is commercial agriculture or accessory use there too, or uses accessory there too. So my interpretation of this, Sam, back me up if I'm incorrect. It seems to talk about this section as being related to commercial farming rather than husbandry or people having backyard chickens.
I think that jives with my understanding, because when you're looking at the zoning around backyard chickens, you're really just supposed to have hens. But obviously that's not going to work if you're like a chicken farmer. So like a commercial chicken farmer, this is covered. But if you just like have a couple chickens in your backyard for eggs, the zoning covers that. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we have this. I'm glad that we have this
right to farm
paragraph about if you're buying property, contiguous to a farm or next to a farm, and you need to be notified of it. But once you are there, please try to be nice and talk to your neighbors instead of complaining a lot, because they have the right to be there and provide delicious vegetables.
Yeah, right to farm. Well, looks like the welcoming ordinance is the last one, right? And that one was done pretty recently.
Did I say a shout out to section 12.67 before we move on? It's non-gendered language in reference to the mayor, and I just would like to say that I appreciate that.
Yeah, we don't have to change it.
Right.
I know, I was just scanning too for gender pronouns in this whole thing, and I don't even see that. No. Maybe people who write about farming are, they're more less,
I have a question about the underground tanks. And this is what I was talking about, that I did think I saw something about it being taken care of if the funds are available, if I'm understanding this correctly. It's section 1222A. It mentions the underground tank removal program, and if funds are available during the intervening fiscal years. It's about existing storage tanks that were in the aquifer protection. Up a little bit more, actually, I think. Well, let's see. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there it is.
Right there. So I guess it's talking about the removal of them, but is it saying that if there's funds available in this program that they'll remove them in that protection district? Or am I completely misunderstanding that?
No. It does seem like that they'll pay for it, provide the funds.
I guess if it's just in that protected area, aquifer.
Yeah.
Well, also, this is, we're talking about 22A, right?
Right. It's also 17 years ago. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So the aquifer protection district is like the plains.
Right.
And there was this big push, almost 20 years ago to get all those septic tanks out and for the and put in these various restrictions in order to protect discharges into the Barnes aquifer.
Right.
Seems that this is related to the fire department. Hopefully they're going to be commenting on the current status of all of this. Remember, I don't know if we want to talk about this more, or we kind of feel like this is there's not much to say here until we get more information. we're pretty much through the ordinances. There's a welcoming ordinance, but I'm thinking that our next meeting, if it's in July, we could meet if you guys are interested in meeting in person. Everyone doesn't have to be in person. I think a quorum of us have to be in person. Is that correct? So if you don't feel comfortable coming in person, but I think it'd be nice to have some working meetings where we're actually, like I was mentioning, like kind of going through them all and putting them like that kind of like kind of putting the issues we found in like a table of priority and what, I don't know, committee we could see that going into. Might be a nice way to kind of wrap up our work together. What do you guys think of that thought?
Like
Around the table?
Yeah, I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm actually okay with it.
We can even have snacks.
Oh, snacks would be great. I'm like trying to subtly eat olives. No,
I'm fully vaccinated as well. And I am a strong believer in snacks.
Me too.
So that's what I was thinking. Because we're kind of at the end. We are at the end. We'll get some more information, but it'd be to see it through to go into the next place. I thought together as a group we could kind of just break it up and put it on paper. Does that sound?
Yeah.
Good. All right.
I had sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Since we are almost done with the ordinances, I wanted to suggest something, which is, I know that we've been talking about potentially looking at either the zoning or the traffic rules and orders and seeing if there's anything to do there.
Yeah.
To that end, I would really encourage everybody on the committee to try and read our housing production plan, which was passed in January, because my thought is that I really do believe that zoning is probably the biggest way that like local governments do racist things. But also, I think that the housing production plan does a pretty good job of calling out where our current zoning is a barrier to the development of certain types of housing for certain types of people. And I guess my question is, would we be duplicating that effort, or is there something missing in that we feel is worthy of really looking into? Like, I'm just curious what other people think about that. Like my first read of it is that like they do a pretty thorough job explaining like everything in our zoning that is making it hard to like build affordable housing, for example. But I could have some blind spots. So I'd just be really interested in what other people think about like whether or not that effort has kind of been accomplished.
do you want to send a copy of it to us?
Yeah, sure. I believe it's up on the city website, but I'll send a link.
That would be great. I think,
Thank
I
you.
mean, I agree. That is where there's the most likelihood of some sort of bias. So like, yeah, I'd like to take a look at that.
Right,
Yeah,
and housing prices generally are just skyrocketing and making it hard for people to find affordable places to live here. So,
Tom, do you remember how the production plan relates to or interacts with 40B? Is it if you have a production plan and you're exempt from 40B or something like that? Has something to do with it. I can't remember.
They relate to one another. I don't think that you're necessarily exempt from 40B, but like, I think that having a plan, it does somehow count against it does factor into 40B somehow. The technical details I'm not 100% sure on, but
Let's look at that as well.
It doesn't exempt you. I know that, and I think it also opens you up for different opportunities and funding. I'm pretty sure.
And the 10% of affordable housing, I think, is a factor in it too. But
that's the main
here, I think
factor.
I'll read it before.
I think I remember this. I think that the housing production plan, the sort of goal is to get to the level of housing where you are exempt from 40B, but having the plan doesn't exempt you from 40B.
Okay. Yep. Doesn't it? Right. Okay.
We could have another meeting before we meet in person, because we're going June 7th, where we're kind of dedicated to talking about the housing, in terms of we could read the housing production plan. And we could even, if you wanted to, we could invite someone from the Affordable Fair Housing Partnership just to come and join us for that conversation. Because they might be able to point out places too. They're very intimate with affordable housing barriers.
Sure. My main thing is, like, I think if we're going to move beyond the ordinance, then we're going to want to check back in with the full council about what we're doing. And I just think before we make that step, the housing production plan is about 80 pages. So it's not like a crazy read, but it's also not something that would be like a meeting of reading, but also like more than half of it is like, here's a cool project you could do, which is not obviously what we would be looking at. I guess the question is, like, if we're going to figure out whether we're going to call it a day or look into other things, just trying to get a sense of where, like whether would we be adding value there, or would we kind of just be duplicating some effort that some experts already did? That's kind of, I'd be interested to know what other people thought about that.
Like now or after we read it?
Well, yeah, after you read it.
I mean, I did read it, most of it. It's really interesting. It's really kind of exciting because it gives a really good roadmap of, and I know Tom has already started on taking steps on that roadmap. So propose, like, do you want to do you have a meeting where we talk about our read of that before we meet in July in person, or does that, like, what is the will of the people here?
I mean, I figure we could just discuss it at our next meeting.
Okay. All right.
But I'm open to anything else.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant, our next meeting. I was kind of hoping we could, but it's only June 7th, so we could have that could be our next meeting. And then I was just feeling like a working meeting in person sounds like more productive than Zoom at this point. So we could kind of have a book club about the housing production plan and read it and talk about our thoughts. Or not.
I mean, I think just given what Tom and Helen have said, just about how it's kind of where you bump up against discrimination.
Yes.
In kind of, and in housing more than, well, also some of the other zoning ordinances, but I mean, it makes sense to kind of take a look at it just to see if there's anything. But I mean,
I agree.
like you're saying,
it's really
a lot of people have gone through this.
Yeah,
I agree too. And I mean, the way I look at it too is, we made a year commitment to look at things.
Great.
And we didn't say, if we finish our initial mission, that's it. I mean, we did talk about expanding potentially to look at some of the other things to some of the zoning stuff to kind of see if we could put our eye to it anyway. So I think it sort of is within our purview.
I mean, our next meeting could be an in-person meeting, snacks, whatever we want. And we can discuss the ordinances we've already looked through, as well as maybe what the fire chief sends us, and have that on the agenda. And then check in and see where everybody is at with reading the housing production plan. And then sort of like, if everybody's hasn't quite tackled it yet, to like put that on the agenda for officially on the agenda for the next meeting. Next, like the following after that, if that works, just in terms of suggesting a plan.
Yeah. No, we should read the welcoming ordinance, even though it's probably.
Oh, and that one, yes.
Yeah, just to celebrate it.
Oh, I've read it.
I know you've read it, but read it. I mean, talk about it. Of course, you've read it. All right. So, okay. So that. 2 weeks from now would be June 21st. Our Mondays still.
And let me just
Good.
say too, just about the welcoming city ordinance too, like if you feel like it needs to be, like if there's anything that needs to be reviewed or we have any questions about the language of it, Javier Garcia from the ACLU is one of the people that helped us draft it. The finished product back whenever.
I know.
So I'm sure he'd be happy to speak about it. Omar knows some things.
He knows some things. Oh, Myers, quiet. Any thoughts?
It's hot.
It is hot. I know.
It's good for me.
Okay.
I like hot weather.
Huh? So on June 21st, if that works for everyone, you will look over the housing production plan to see where you are in reading it. Try to read. You could, like Tom said, you can skim through and kind of see the parts where they're talking about the barriers. So
I have a dental thing that day, so
it doesn't have to be that day.
Yeah, I also have a
not be able
conflict.
to speak.
Oh, you do? Okay. No, we want you to speak, Kay. Let's see, off Wednesday. How about the 24th? No, that's not a Wednesday. That's the 23rd.
That's fine for me.
I can't be
It
there
is
on the
Wednesday.
23rd, just because I have a work related scheduling thing. So.
Oh, actually, I may also on the 24th. I do have an event also.
Okay, 24th, or that's the day of the event. Okay.
Yeah. And I fly to Michigan then. So when they get
Michigan. What are you flying there for? Why? Why are you flying?
One of my kiddos is. It's a bridal shower for her that was put off by the pandemic and was rescheduled as the wedding in September.
Okay, my home state.
Yeah, that's right.
June 30th.
That
Wednesday.
totally works for me.
I can do that.
Sam, what's that facial expression? Oh, he's frozen. Okay. I was like, he doesn't look happy. Oh, June 30th.
No, all is well.
Okay, June 30th. It's June Wednesdays. I have my son on Wednesday night, so Wednesday night's better for me normally anyway. June 30th.
June 30th.
What time?
What?
6:30. 6:30.
6:30.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we not meet in person till July? What is the rule?
Yeah, I think it's July 1st is the.
Oh.
So we'll have one more remote one, I guess.
Well, one more remote one. And then I'm curious too. I'm going to loop back with Northampton because I know they did go through their zoning ordinances with Ordinance Review. And so I'd be curious to hear what they flagged. So, okay. All right. So we have nothing else to discuss tonight, but we've got our list for next time. We're going over whatever we get back from others. We were reading the housing production plan and the welcoming ordinance. Welcome. All right.
All right, make a note of the meeting time.
With Fabian.
Do you want to make the motion, Kay? Is that what was happening?
No, I was just saying I'm putting in the meeting minutes of the date of the next meeting.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Tom?
Aye.
Okay, yes. Helen? And Sam? Oh my.
Yep.
All
All
right.
right. So
See,
we're adjourned.
thank you.
All right. See you. Have a good
Bye.
evening. Bye.